Ladies and gentlemen, for those who are able, please rise, give a standing ovation to the winner of the 2013 Indianapolis 500, Mr. Tony Kannan. How you doing, man? Seat right over here. Now, please be sensitive, okay? Tony's having a hard time realizing he's the third most in shape person on this stage tonight.
I was actually holding my breath.
Not everybody can be a health nut like you, Tony.
Hey, how's retirement going for you?
Great.
Yeah, you're good.
You're good, bud.
Great. Good evening, everybody. Actually, it's funny because, you're right. 3 years ago, I decided that was it, and 3 years later, we're still here. So it's been great. We've been busy. You can ask my wife how busy we are, but I love this. I can't stop doing it.
So you mentioned your wife, okay? You have a beautiful wife, a beautiful family. You've won this race before. You've sat on the pole. Everywhere you go, you get a standing ovation. Why keep coming back?
Well, first of all, obviously, 3 years ago, we sat at home and I said, look, I think we're going to slow down for a little bit. I've never really said I was going to retire. I said I was going to stop doing full seasons in IndyCar because we wanted to pursue other things, and we agree on that. And then COVID hit, and I think if probably in my racing career was probably one of the saddest days when we walk into Gasoline Alley and was no fans there. And we looked at each other, I'm like, this is horrible. And that was supposed to be probably my last Indy 500. So a few weeks later, I was doing a Zoom call. Back then, we couldn't meet in person anymore, with one of our sponsors, NTT and Bryant. And it was for 400 people, and it was a Q&A like this. And the last question of the Q&A was from one of the employees that said, do you really think it's fair that your last Indy 500 you would run with no fans? And I said, well, you're probably right. Should I come back? And we finished the call. 30 minutes later, I got a call from the CEO of NTT Data and from Brian saying, are you serious? I said, well, the question is, are you guys serious? Because I can't pay for it. And obviously, one thing led to the other. Jimmy Johnson decided that he was going to run an IndyCar and makes a phone call to tell me he was not running the ovals, which I thought was totally a prank, because a 7-time NASCAR champion not running the ovals, and the rest is history. We signed a 2-year deal. It's the second year into the deal. And I hate to say it, but I don't think I'm ready not to do this next year. So
Next year.
Like to hear that.
So Elio wins last year, right? Did that give you any sort of confidence to say, you and Elio are both veterans, you both know the track, you understand what this month is all about here in Indianapolis, and watching his win last year, maybe I'm just projecting, he must have thought, hey man, if he can do it, I'm going to do it again.
Well, Elio's been a reference for me. We grow up together, we race together our entire lives, and I think we actually made each other better through the course of our career. I actually never believe I couldn't do it. I just, sometimes it's just the way it is. People like to put odds. I love odds because I love to beat the odds, right?
I gamble from time to time,
Here
yes.
you go. And people like, nobody never won from 12th place, or, they have all these odds that doesn't make any sense. And age, age, it's always something that people say, oh, you're getting old. I don't feel old. Obviously it's going to get to a point that your reflexes and everything else will slow down, but not at 47 years old. Come on, it's...
You're starting on the second row. Right. That's pretty solid.
Well, we're there. And so is Ed Carpenter, and Scott is all above 40 years old, So this kind of things. Obviously, Elio winning his fourth was amazing. A guy that I grew up, racing against and see what he's accomplished. It was good. It was good to prove people that we can still do it. So, and that's how I was happy for him, because it was like, see, we're not old. We can still do this, and that's obviously one of the reasons that I'm still here. And after qualifying yesterday, you can tell that we still have it. So until Chip wants me back, I'll keep coming back.
One of the things that I'm always fascinated about is your race day experience. I'm never going to know what it's like to get into a car, do 230 miles an hour at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Pretty sure that's the case for most everybody here. So when you wake up on race day, take me through what it's like. A day in the life of Tony Kannan on race day. Do you still get nervous? Do you get the butterflies? All that?
Yeah, I mean, it's getting worse. I told Lauren before qualifying yesterday, I was like, I thought it was gonna be easier, and then it's getting worse and worse. I get more nervous, probably because I know exactly what can happen. Not talking about bad things. It's just like, you can get a gust of wind and you cannot qualify well and so on. But so race morning, it's really, we sleep at the racetrack at the bus lot, and the bomb goes off at 5 a.m. So
yes,
you already wake up freaking out, right? It's like a big bomb, and then from then
Did anybody tell you about that, your first time in Indy, that they literally fire off a cannon in the morning?
And which I said, why? I mean, just open the gates, people walk in. You don't have to scare the hell out of people. But that is a first wake-up call right away. And from then on, we're really busy. I mean, I'm actually a very calm guy during race day. I try not to, you can't predict things. You don't know what's going to happen. So I have breakfast in the bus. Then Lauren actually stays at home with 4 kids, and they get in around 8 o'clock, and then it's just a normal day. Sunday morning in my house, kids are playing in the bus. One is pulling each other's hair and fighting, and then we'll start and we'll go do interviews, because we always have that ritual. Then the sponsors that came in the night before that we haven't seen, we go to hospitality, do a little speech and green room, and it's finally, actually, by then you're like, can I get in the car, please? I just want to race. And
what moment does it become, all right, we're in race mode now? Is it during back home again? Is it driver start your engines? Is there a specific moment?
It's when we take off from the grid. Up until then, I mean, you guys see it. IndyCar is great. They give you guys a great access. I mean, the grid is full of people. I mean, many times I'm putting my helmet on and people are asking me to sign something right there on the spot. So you're still busy. But yeah, when we start rolling, that's when the thing really hits and you go, okay, ready to go.
Well, before we ask you about 2013 and winning the Indy 500, you're an honorary Hoosier at this point?
Oh, yeah. I mean, obviously, Lauren is from here.
Yeah.
Two of our kids, I don't even know anymore. 2 of them? Just one. Okay, one was born here. I wasn't even here when she was born, or when Nina was born, so I was racing in Portland. But yeah, we moved here 4 years ago. We love it. I always loved Indy. Obviously, I met Lauren here 16 years ago, and obviously we always came here.
You never got a speeding ticket in Indiana, have you?
Actually, no. I got yelled at it, but then he recognized me and says, come on, man, set the example here. Don't, yeah. Actually, I almost got arrested leaving the racetrack 2 years ago after the race, because as you go through the tunnel, you can only turn right. And we live on the other side, and I needed to turn left. So I did a U-turn, illegal U-turn, right in front of the cop. And he's like, you can't do that right in front of me, man. But he recognized me and let me go. But yeah, so I love here. I love the city.
A lot of drivers do. It's amazing. You guys, I think it's indicative of the state of Indiana and the city of Indianapolis. So many of you guys from around the world have decided to make Indy your home.
Well, obviously the race shops are all around. We like to live near the shop, to be able to talk to the guys, see the mechanics, and talk to the engineers. But obviously, Laurie and I had a bigger bond. Our family's here. And honestly, we lived in Miami for the longest time, and with the kids, I don't know. I obviously I'm from Brazil, but I've been here for the longest time, and I think the people here are just friendlier. People say good morning to you. They open the doors for you, and that's the example.
Maybe for you. Sometimes I get different responses, Tony.
So for the kids, it's actually a much better environment as well, and we love it. I hate the winter. I'm not denying it, but I love this place.
So Take me back to the first time you ever made it to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Do you remember the first time you walked through?
Of
What
course.
was that like?
Of course. So let's go back 30-some years ago when my dad was alive. We used to watch the Indy 500 every Sunday. And growing up, that was the thing that we did all the time, every month of May. Dad got sick. He had cancer when I was 10 years old. And he finally, unfortunately, he passed away when I was 13. But he made me promise him that one day I was going to win the Indy 500 for him. So since then, that's had been my goal. Obviously, I didn't know if I was going to make it. We went through a lot for me to get here. But then, so I promised myself that I was never going to step a foot at the Speedway if I was not racing. So I've been racing in IndyCar since 1998. But remember, we had the split, so I've never actually had set a foot at the Speedway until 2002, when I had the opportunity to drive for my first year at the Speedway. And that's when we led that race. I started fourth, actually. We led that race. I was leading the race when a back marker blew up the engine, and I actually ended up spinning on the oil and crashing. And that's when we start the quest. Basically, for people that don't know the story, but I led my first 7 Indy 500s. I led at least one lap. We started in the front row. Actually, we started first, second, third, fifth, sixth, and seventh, and among other times. And obviously, we never had led the right lap. I led more than 200 laps, which is the entire race. So finally, in 2013, we were able to do it.
And then we got to talk about 2013. Take us through the moments, the laps right before you win. I know it ended under caution. Was it Dario that had wrecked? And
it was Dario, yeah.
Your buddy.
Coincidence or not, my best friend.
Yeah.
People think he did it on purpose, but whatever. But 2013 was very 2013 was very special. I was racing for Michael Andretti in 2010. 7-Eleven decided that they gonna end that program, and actually I still had 5 years left on my contract, but Michael fired me then, and I found myself in November 2010 without a team, and all the teams by then had already choose their drivers. So I went through that winter. It was tough. It was trying to decide what to do and how, if I was going to continue racing or not. So got together with Jimmy Vasser, another good friend of mine that used to race against me. They had a very small team called KV Racing, and we decided we're going to do something together. So we went through a couple of years of a lot of struggle. And then in 2013, we start the year, we only had the money to do 4 races, which was the first 3 and the Indy 500. And Jimmy said to me over the winter, says, look, we need to win the 500 if we're going to stop there, right? And I said, well, yeah, duh.
Good plan.
Yeah, right. I can't say what I told him then, but so we decided that we bought a new chassis. We had one chassis at the time. We bought a new chassis, and we said, look, we're going to prep this car just for the 500. So we need to go to the first 3 races. We can't crash the primary car because we don't want to use the Indy car. Chassis number 11, which was my number at the time. So the mechanics, I mean, Tyler's here. He knows how much preparation it takes. It's not just, oh, we'll buy the car and you know, we can put it on. The guys put the body work on, and they send it, and they look if it's so many things that I will spend hours explaining to you guys. But so we managed to do that. So we got to the Indy 500 in 2013, knowing that that was going to be our last race. And you know, I decided that month that I was going to enjoy things that I hadn't enjoyed all 12 years prior, which you get to the month and you're really nervous. You have the pressure, and especially with me, people are like, is this the year? And I want to say, no, it's not. I just want to participate here. I don't care. I mean, so I said, you know what? I'm going to enjoy the month because this might be my last one that I'm racing. So I enjoyed the autograph sessions. I enjoyed the fans more, giving them even more attention. And we had a very cool story a few years before that. During the month of May, we visit Riley Hospital here in Indy. to see some of the kids. They are there. And obviously, cancer is really close cause to my heart. And so one of these visits 3 years prior, I was there with the kids, and one of the nurses says to me, look, can you go to the first floor? There are some kids that cannot come down here to pay them a visit. I said, sure. I had left the track that day. We just had finished running, so you leave in a hurry. I had this medallion that my mother had given to me when I was 8 years old that I used to wear around my neck. And my mom says, look, this is something to protect you. Obviously, 8 years old, we're talking about, I was, 30-some. My neck had grown a little bit. It wouldn't fit anymore. So I always wore it in my pocket. And I left the track, and I had it in my suit. So the suit was going to go to the washer, and I didn't want to lose it. So I put it in my jeans, in my pocket, and I went to the hospital. Anyway, go up. There's this girl in a coma. She just had a stroke a couple days before, and her mother was in her bedside. And I walked in, and she introduced herself, and she said, yeah, she had a stroke. She's going to have surgery tomorrow, and we don't know what's going to happen. And while I was talking to her, I put my hands in my pocket just by habit, and I grabbed the medallion. I said, look, I don't know if you believe in this, but so my mother gave it to me, and I explained her the story. I said, if you want it, just keep it with you or on her to protect her. So anyway, she did, had a great surgery, very successful, survived. Fast forward 3 years. We get to the month of May. We work all month long just on the race car. Nobody talked about us. Nobody expected us to do anything. All the fast guys in the front, we started P12. 12 was Jimmy's number, Jimmy Vassar's number. He's raced his entire life, so I'm not superstitious at all. Chassis number 11 with car 11. We go through the month. The night before the race, Lori and I drove from a dinner. I stop at the traffic light right before I turn into the Speedway on a red light, and I look at the odometer of the car, and it said 11:11. I was like, okay. We drove through the tunnel to the motorhome lot, and the pylon was on, and it was only one number at number 1, number 11. I'm like, Lauren, this is getting weird by the minute here. So we get to the bus, we get an envelope that our PR guy had delivered to us, say, hey, look, you got this envelope, and somebody asked me to hand it to you, Andrew. I said, okay. So I opened the envelope, and there is a letter. Say, hi, Tony, it's Andrea. I don't know if you remember me. I was the girl that had surgery 3 years ago, and I survived. I've been watching your quest to win the 500, and I have kept your medallion all these years. But I think it's time for you to get it back because you're going to win this thing. So you should wear it in your pocket tomorrow. And put it in my pocket. We started 12th, and you guys saw how it went. 6 laps to go. No, 7 laps to go. Graham crashes, brings the yellow out. We sitting second. So it's going to go green 3 laps to go. I had lost 3 Indy 500s under the yellow with 3 laps to go. So I go on the radio and I said, Jimmy, look, it's going to be all or nothing. It's either this car is going to come back without all 4 wheels or we're going to win this thing. And we restarted. I took the lead, and obviously, Dario crashed, and that was it. So, went to the podium. If you guys watched that broadcast, I pulled that medallion out, and it was a great story.
And then just another little kiss from the heavens after that. Your face is on the trophy right next to 2 of your best friends.
Yeah,
Dario and the late Dan Weldon, and Dario again, and you, I think. Is that the order, right?
Yeah, that's the order.
That's amazing.
You couldn't script more. If you had told me that I was going to say this is a Hollywood movie, somebody just thought that. But obviously, one of the most unforgettable moments of my life, and I didn't even realize that, but if you guys watch the footage, when I crossed the start finish line, I was actually pointing up. I wasn't even with my fist up, that's the way I celebrate. And then I was pointing up saying, Dad, I told you I was going to do it. And then have my face and Dan, me, and then Dario and me on the trophy, which is, my 2 best friends. Unfortunately, we lost Dan. It was perfect.
So about Dario, we did this event a couple years ago, the last time we were able to all get together, and he told us a story about you. And he still maintains that you owe him half of a bike.
Correct. He's
So,
actually correct.
for those who don't know the bike story, take us why Dario feels like you owe him half of a bike.
So I'm a little bit of a prankster myself. Obviously, we picked on Dan Weldon so much, but so Dario and Brian Herder at the time decided to pull a prank on me because I was always the one that did on people. So during the month of May, remember back in the day it was the whole month. So ESPN used to cover the whole day, every day. So at the end of every day, you would go to the booth and they would be live and you'd be talking. So that day I was the fastest, so I was invited to the booth. So I go up there, it's in the pagoda, and basically we're sitting like this. It's me, Scott Goodyear, and Eddie Cheever. All the cameras, lights, and we're sitting, getting ready to go live. Here comes Dario and Brian Herta, like just wheeling my bike into the pagoda. I'm like, whoa.
Now, when you say bike, this wasn't like just something you buy at a store.
My road bike, if you know, I think Damien is here somewhere. Where are you? Here we go. Hey, buddy, we ride bikes together all the time, and we have a great group of cyclists here. I mean, that's my second passion. So anyway, it's a road bike. It's probably a $10,000 bike. We're not talking about full carbon fiber and so on. And he rolls in with my bike in hand, and I'm like, what are they doing? And he's laughing, and I can't do anything. The guy goes 5, 4, 3, and we go live. And he's back there. I can see the cameraman, and I can see him. So I'm talking, and every time, and all of a sudden, he raises my bike and keeps showing me the bike. I'm like, how stupid are you, man? We think you're trying to make me laugh. And then he gets out a, what do you call it? The saw, like a chainsaw.
A hacksaw.
A hacksaw. Sorry, it's my English. A hacksaw. And he shows me the hacksaw. I was like, but in the meantime, again, I can't do anything about it. Anyway, he starts like basically, sawing the bike in half.
Your $10,000 carbon fiber bike, he's hacksawing it live on television.
Does the top tube, because it is 2 tubes. Top tube. Second, we go to break, and I'm like, and I can get out. Second, after the break, second tube, the chain. And by the time the show was done, Brian had the front end, and Dario had the rear end of the bike. And I was about to kill them. So did not speak to them for 2 days. On the third day, Dario came into my bus with $10,000 in cash to buy me a bike. But the deal was, I'm giving you this, but I want half of that bike because I want to keep it on a frame. I got the bike. I took to the shop. The carbon guys fixed the bike, and I sold it. I never gave him half of the bike. So the prank's on him.
You guys took the photo today, I believe, for the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And I saw some of the video. They were playing some of this earlier. How many wet willies did you get from the guys?
Who was doing that to you?
Gross. Well, when I got to sit, I walked in and I see Montoya and Rossi right behind me. I'm like, okay, this is not going to be good. And did you see that, babe? I didn't even tell you. So obviously, Montoya starts, licks his finger and put it in my ear. Then Rossi thinks it's funny, did it on the other ear, and I was like, whatever. And they kept picking on me, and I could actually, the guys started to yell at me because I could not look forward. I was so grossed out. And that was it. That was the picture today.
But it just shows that you're the guy that they want to pick on, though. Like,
well,
it's a sign of respect almost.
I don't know.
We know that's a fun guy. We know that guy is an icon around this joint. We have to give him a wet willy. It's how it works.
No, I think it's the way they saw it was if it was the opposite, I would be doing the same. So they said, we might as well take the opportunity because if he was behind me, that's what I was going to be doing in anyway. So, but yeah. I mean, they pulled a prank on Connor Daly the other day. Connor bought this hot tub.
I saw that.
Yes.
Yeah.
This jacuzzi and put it behind his bus, and he was bragging the whole week about, after the test, look at me in my tub. I'm not going to say who did it.
That's a solid Connor impression, by the way.
I can't say who did it. I'm not going to admit if I was part of it or not. Maybe I was.
That's a yes.
We emptied that thing. Tyler, what did they put? What's the name of that thing that they put in? The what? Water beads. I didn't even know the name. I just said here.
They filled it up with water beads?
Well, no. The thing is that the idea was
they replaced.
we emptied the tub. Somebody And then the mastermind said, let's put some water beads in. But it's a big tub. Right. I'm like, what do you mean some? No, maybe just the bottom. I know. If we're going to do it, we're going to fill it. So 400.
Or someone was going to have to fill it.
Correct. 400,000. So it cost us a little bit, but it was well worth it.
It cost someone a little bit.
Honey, sorry. That's why I'm doing this, to pay for that.
Now, we were upstairs getting ready for this, before you arrived. Nigel brought to my attention an old video where you and Sam Hornish had a little situation.
Oh, I think you may have been part of the biggest brawl on record at an IndyCar race. Back like in 07 or something?
It was
you
07.
You and Junior.
Wow, hold on. That's not true. 2007, we had an altercation at the racetrack.
Yeah, New York.
And coming into the pits, so we hit each other. He hit me on track. I was really mad, and I'm not proud. On the cool-down lap, NASCAR style, I hit him. And he didn't appreciate that. So when we stopped, he gets out of the car, but he didn't have the guts to come talk to me, so he's yelling at me from here to there. I'm like, come on. If you're a real man, come talk in my face. His dad.
His old man came at you.
Papa Hornish.
And pushes me. I'm like, nah, dude. Then I'm like, oh, really? You need your dad to really, help you? Then I push his dad back, and then my guys saw it, and then mayhem. I mean, it was a fight, like Penske guys, Andretti guys. Dan Whelan came, and then Dan comes to me and says, okay, don't, and at this point, I want to beat the hell out of Sam. And I pull one of those, I'm not going to fight, so we start walking this way. So then, relax, and then looked the other way, and I ran and tried to get Sam again, and $50,000 later, we stopped the fight.
So to me, like an amazing part of that story is young Dan Weldon was the peacemaker in that.
Which doesn't make any sense. So that tells you how twisted that story was, But yeah,
like a Pedro Martinez, Don Zimmer situation. That fight with his old man coming at you.
The funny part is that was Watkins. The next race is Nashville, and one of those things. We had to be there. It's Firestone's headquarters there. We had an appearance. Who sat right beside me? Sam Hornish.
Oh boy.
Okay.
What's the first thing I said to him? How's your dad?
We're going to get some questions from you guys here in just a little bit. But before we get there, let's talk about this year. You had a great car. You got in the Fast 12. Then you got in the Fast 6. Before we talk about the race, how did you like the qualifying format this year?
Obviously, we've been part of it. I run with Hinchcliffe and some of the other guys, the Drivers Association, and we've been trying to help IndyCar how we could make qualifying more exciting because, the series is in a high. It's so competitive, but, one way or the other, we actually we were not going to have a bump day. We knew that because some of actually the teams that were one-offs, they actually became a full-time teams. So, and then obviously it was a big deal. We're not going to have 33 cars, this and that, but we're trying to make qualifying more interesting to the fans, to the young fans too. We're trying to get, the young kids that just want to watch an iPad all day to watch racing, And
I thought it was real exciting. I got a little sunburn out there. And
that's what I'm saying.
I'm not sure if you saw me. I was the guy with the beer.
Yeah. Next time I'll wave. and we, obviously, you hear a lot of opinions in the beginning when we announce, oh, you guys are breaking the tradition. This is going to be bad, blah, blah, blah. And then I think, all the people that I talked on social media and people loved it. So I actually was really excited. Honestly, when they came up with the idea, I did not like it because I don't want to do 12 laps qualifying that place. You guys have no idea how nervous-wracking it is to do 4, let alone 4 in one day and then 8 the next day. So, but I think it was awesome.
Do you notice a difference when you're going 232 compared to 233? Like, do you notice 1 or 2 miles an hour difference?
No, but we kind of know because we have the dash, right? So in the engine pulling, but Yeah, it's funny when if you listen to the radio sometimes. Like I finished my qualify run yesterday, the second run, and I told Chris, my engineer, says, "Car's too slow," and we average 233. You know, so, but yeah, you don't feel it that much.
So let's go into the Indy 500 this year. You like your chances?
Do I look like I'm worried?
Like that?
Thank you. I do, and then I have to say, what a great team effort, though. I mean, we put 5 cars in the top 12. We're the only team. We put 4 cars in the Fast 6. You know, this tells you about the organization that we're in and how good of a cars we have. I'm a one-off, and Chip gave me, you know, everything, like exactly like the other guys, the same treatment, same cars. I mean, he didn't have to do that. Really, I mean, you have 4 guys there. They're actually going for the championship. There are a lot of points in qualifying for them to actually help out. I was there taking points away. But obviously, with the Legion, Chip, they obviously believe I can still do this and I can still win. So Chip wants to win, and he doesn't care who. So he put 5 cars that are capable of winning. We had a really good month so far. We had a good day today, and I like my chances. I just know how this place is. So all I'm going to say is I'm ready to win.
Who thinks he's got a good chance?
I think he
Who
does.
thinks he's got a hell of a chance? All right, let's take a few questions from the crowd here.
Sure. Do we have a wireless mic? Are we going to get your son to maybe go around?
Chris, I'll make a deal with you. This is Chris Hammer. This is my youngest son, by the way. This is a kid that loves 2 things, IndyCar and baseball. Notice I didn't put his dad anywhere in that list. I'll make a deal with you. You get the first question, then you got to walk around with the microphone. Is that a deal? Fire away.
All right. Basically, I'll just ask, which one is more nerve-wracking, the qualifying run or the actual race itself?
I think qualifying. The race is 3 hour long. I mean, there are so many things that, you know, you go through, but qualifying, man, it's, and the cars are actually somehow a little bit more easier to drive. I mean, qualifying, you're putting everything on the line. You're going maxed out. You, the car, your engineer, you guys really, we're trying to push the limit. So, yeah, I think I lose like a couple years of my life every qualifying run I do here.
Raise your hand if you've got a question for Tony Kannan. All right, Chris, let's go over here to the front row.
So, Tony, you hear on the broadcast during qualifying about using your tools, your weight jackers, your roll bars, and whatnot. And that's obviously on all 4 laps for qualifying. On race day, how much do you use those tools? Is that an every lap thing, or do you guys get to kind of relax and settle into a groove?
No. I mean, qualifying is a little busier because we have some tools that we actually use to raise the front of the car in the straight and come back in the corner. As you raise the car in the front of the straight, you pick up more straight line speed. We don't use that in the race, but we are always adjusting. We have 2, a front roll bar and a rear roll bar. Basically, you can actually tune that. And the weight jacker, you can put more weight to the right or to the left, which is, you know, depending on the balance. So we're actually, sometimes you're switching twice a lap. Basically, depending on the wind, you look at the wind, and you know what the car is going to do. You predict what the car is going to do in 3 and 4, and then you change back to 1 and 2. So it's not just, there's no relaxing at any point. Not even under yellow flag. You're always talking to your engineers, trying to figure out what you need to do to make the car better until the end of the race.
Let's get somebody from the back of the room. Who's got a question in the back? Chris, find somebody in the back here.
Love that guy in the yellow right there.
Make him run.
Again, thank you to Relay Indiana for making this night possible. Thank you.
It's been awesome.
So, having been here for so many years, what's it like working with Jimmy Johnson in his first time here and going so fast?
It's awesome. I mean, obviously, Jimmy was the guy that, you know, made all this to come back. And we shared a car last year. He did the street and road courses, and I did the oval. And then when I saw Jimmy in May here last year, he was doing the broadcast. I looked at his eyes, and I knew he was going to want to do this year. So we had a little bit of a discussion over the winter, and I think he deserved it to be a full-time. And so I was going to do 5 ovals this year. I stepped out of the car with one condition, that we would race together at the 500. Obviously, Chip loved that idea. It's been awesome. Jimmy, I mean, hats off to him. A guy that won 7 championships and was so successful at this point of his career, put himself in a spot like this and really not care what people have to say, because, you know, fans, our fans won't say anything, but you have all, you know, these mean people that hide behind a tablet nowadays, and they think they know everything, and they say, oh, look at this guy, you know, he sucks and this and that. And hats off to him. He's an awesome guy. He actually contributed a lot to the team since he came. And watch out. He's going to be a factor on Sunday for sure.
Get a couple more in here, then we'll get Tony set up to sign some stuff.
Yeah, besides 2013, is there any year that particularly sticks in your head as maybe one that got away or one that you thoroughly enjoyed?
The ones that got away, I have too many, so we'll leave that out. Actually, the year before, Dario won, Dixon finished second, and I finished third. Dan just had passed the year prior, so that was very special. 3 of Dan's best friends had actually finished 1, 2, 3, and we have a photo, and actually that race finished under yellow. If you guys don't remember, Sato crashed on trying to pass Dario on the last 2 laps to go. And we have this picture, the 3 of us lined up, crossing the start-finish line, and actually we talked about it after the race, and the 3 of us had the same thought for a moment when we crossed the finish line. We always thought about Dan, so that was pretty special. And then I get to win the year after that, so.
Do you follow Dan's kids' racing career?
Oh, yeah. I mean, we talk to Susie all the time. They're doing a documentary. They just came here a few months ago, and we shot a bunch of things, and the kids are as crazy as Dan was. So they're both racing. Susie is probably even crazier than that. But, yeah, obviously, Scott's really close to them, too. We kept, you know, their family to us. So we'll see them soon.
We get one more question in here. Who's got a question? Chris, find somebody with their hand up, and we'll do one more question, and then we'll get Tony set up in the back here. How about a little hustle, kid? Is that asking too much?
Hey, Tony, if I may, one thing real quick before I ask my question. You won't remember me, but I sat next to you on the plane last month. You were coming in from DFW, and I was real careful not to get your space, but when they made you shut your computers, we were landing, you took the time to talk to me, and it was awesome, and it just said it showed what a class act you are.
Oh,
so
thank you
for that.
You're welcome.
I'll never forget that. But one of the things that I took away from yesterday, with technology getting where it is, it seems like the team is in your ear all the way around the track compared to when it was you and, you said, maybe a flag. How difficult is it today to just block all that out when you're trying to get around the track?
Well, yesterday was a little bit different for me because we actually had lost the dash, so we had no information. And the guys fixed it before qualifying, but it was still a couple things that they were not really clear to me if I was at the right number. And we're talking about changing things constant. So, but it's actually, it's not that difficult to block it out because they're actually helping you. So it's people think it's, you know, like if you're driving your car, it's really easy to relate. You're looking for a street sign or a house number. Why do you lower the volume of your stereo? You know, what doesn't make any sense? So this is pretty much what it is. But when they talk to us, they're helping me. So it's actually, it becomes part of it. It's not, you learn how to actually, when you don't talk, you're like, are you guys there? It's like you kind of feel lonely, you know. So for me, I don't like much talking, but that is something that it needs. You have spotters, you know, there's a couple things that they need to tell you, but and that is some information that they do. We have fuel mixtures. We have things that we need to do to be able to beat other people, and these guys need to talk. For me, it's not actually not a big deal.
Well, Tony, I think it's pretty easy for everybody to see why you're a fan favorite. We're all rooting for you this week and your beautiful wife and your family.
You.
Tony Kannan, everybody.
Thank you.